Welcome to the Good Man Paradigm. I'm your host, Imogen Hobbs. I'm also the men's coach and founder of Change Channel Coaching. And tonight, my guest is Mark Nara. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks.
We are doing this live, so we would love you to comment, ask questions, join in, get involved, be active, and participate in this. Mark and I have decided we're just going to have a rad conversation and see where it leads and what rabbit holes we end up down and where that might end up. So if you have questions or topics you would love us to talk about, then please pop them in the chat. We are live and we would love your participation. But Mark is an intentional tattooist. He has a studio in Brisbane.
Yep.
And that's quite a new studio.
It is, yeah. Probably coming up to a year.
Wow.
Since I got the lease, but had to go on the journey of fitting it out and getting it registered, and takes some time.
Yeah, and interestingly, I actually stumbled across you by accident.
Came in.
Because my best friend was submitting an art, well, not submitting, but presenting in an exhibition that you were doing, or an installation.
Yep.
And I delivered the artwork and said hi, and then you ended up at Mind, Body, Spirit, and we had some mad chats, and now you're here.
Yeah, so it was a nice introduction.
Yeah.
Came into the space, dropped off Mallory's artwork, introduced me to Mind, Body, Spirit. I've been to a couple of those now. Seen you a few times.
Yeah, you've been speaking as well, hey?
Yeah, it's been nice.
I would love to know, to get us started, what is it about ritual tattoo and initiation that seems the most important or relevant to you as an artist and to help people go through as a client?
Okay. Most important.
Yeah.
Well, like ritualizing the process for the person giving the tattoo and the person receiving the tattoo creates a pattern, like a touch point, so they can recognize that they're re-entering or coming back into contact with something that has a particular place, purpose, and meaning for them. Like a familiar sound or smell, or it triggers a memory. So whenever you're doing something that is sacred, the language I would use is sacred, but you could think of it as just not every day, not a common experience like brushing your teeth, even though that's ritualized. When you're coming into contact with something that's removed from the everyday and elevated, ritualizing that allows you to distinguish between what your everyday experience is and then this other thing that's more important, that's heightened. So not all tattooing is like that. Tattooing's become very common, very everyday. And then the language around the initiatory component, it's very nuanced, because you could say that there's an initiatory component to all tattooing.
Yeah.
But again, for the ones that are more elevated, more conscious in terms of like what you're being initiated into, then again the ritual component might allow a continuity on someone's journey. So it's not like random processes or experiences that are disconnected from one another. There's a thread that they continue to sew or weave through the processes that you inevitably come across, that brings in some coherence and sort of like tightens the whole story and the meaning. So yeah, the most important part would probably be awareness around the fact that you're elevating it, that it's not something that you just do every day or something that's whimsical, and creating that relationship with it, where there's a familiarity, and you're coming back into contact with something. Again, it allows you to sense when you're going into a process, when you're coming back up to this threshold, almost like seasonally. Like, oh, change of season, coming out of that beautiful spring and summer, I'm going into a winter now. Or vice versa, like, geez, that was a tough season I was just in, and now I'm coming into a different state of being. It's not as regimented as the seasons, like flicking through like that. But I'd say the relationship, paying attention, developing relationship, they're the most important parts of any elevated ritual or initiatory process.
Is there something that you look for in particular in your clients? Like, do you turn people away if they, like...
Sometimes. Rarely.
What would be your... Like, how do you measure that? How do you...
It's pretty wrapped up in that first question. So scanning, like on my end, I've developed a relationship that allows me to move people through a ritualized pathway that is initiatory.
Yeah.
So there's a responsibility and kind of like a diagnostic layer of going like, where is this person at? Making contact with that and going, okay, can I meet them where they're at and guide them through something that's appropriate or not? And so I'll have my sort of minimum standard acceptable level of what that might look like. And if it falls outside of that, I'd say, no, I'm not going to work with you. But usually it doesn't have to be even broached in that way. It's like there's something really obvious where it's like, for example, since being at this studio in Brisbane, right, very high access. It's like, you can find me on Google Maps and ring me and see if it's open. The studio's open.
Because weren't you like 6 hours in the WOPs of New South Wales for a period of time?
Yeah, so whereas like literally the space before this one, we're on a 5,000 acre property in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's wild.
And if you want to come and get tattooed, it's like, could take some time out of your life and get there, and then you've got to stay there. Can't drive back the next night.
Yeah.
So, there was layers of filtration at that point that just inhibited a lot of contact and people coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I would like pressure test people that wanted to come out there even. Like, this is the tattoo I want to get for this reason. And I might gently start to massage that and see what's underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were really stiff, I might say, look, that tattoo that you want, if you're really sure about it, I know someone who's really good at tattooing. That's not me. Technically, like, I'll vouch for them 100%. They're 30 minutes from you.
Yeah.
Go see them.
Here's the pathway.
Go see them. So there's like layers to it like that where I'm not needy or I don't have a desire to tattoo someone that help. But in Brisbane, it's like I get calls and it's after 5 o'clock, usually home with the kids. And they're like, can I get tattooed now? Like, can I get, literally, the last one was, can I get the word douche tattooed inside my lip now, me and my friend? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that.
Not at all, actually.
So that's like a very obvious one where it's like,
Yeah, we're not aligned.
Makes sense. It's far less common that I'll engage with someone in some type of consultation or dialogue, regardless of where they're at, and uncover something that isn't obvious that would make me say no.
Yeah, okay.
But it does happen sometimes.
Do you find that the longer that you've worked and the more that you've developed, like, because wait, too many questions. The longer that you've worked and the more that you've developed this way of working, because that's obviously a level of conscious awareness that you've had to develop within yourself from your journey to be able to get to this point, right? I would assume.
Yep.
And so, like, do you feel that has, I feel like I'm answering my question as I'm going to say it, but like has changed and filtered out those people based on the energy that you work with and what you put out and the way that you operate? Like, does that automatically filter out a whole bunch of people that just don't even come?
Yeah, and like the less of an opening that you make, the more the way I've developed working screens everything.
Yeah.
Already, because it's like then it's usually through word of mouth.
Yeah.
So having a shop front or having like website and social media presences and stuff, they create an opening where you can get some diversity in it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like it's good to have exposure to the whole spectrum all the time. You know, I'm enjoying that at the moment in Brisbane.
Yeah, I was going to say, how has Brisbane shifted that for you, and like has that, like, in terms of being seen in your space, in your artwork, in your process, in that initiatory journey that you take people on, like how has Brisbane really changed the game on that?
Well, it's just coming back into contact with the mainstream space and like high accessibility, which I already know. So it's like it's coming back and doing another pass of that.
Yeah.
Even though I've like covered a lot more ground, and there's bits where it's like, oh yeah, there's some charm there. There's a little bit of stretch that's needed to accommodate things again. A little bit of like needing to let go of it, needing to be something that it was before. Reminders of like old stages, as well, where it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's popping, it's popping its head back up. Access to clients that the last time I was in like Sydney, so a city, I was working with them regularly, and then it's the distance means you're not, so they're picking up their process again as if it was yesterday, but lots of times past because you're back in the city, kind of back in their field. So there's a lot to it, but it's just a stage.
Yeah,
just a stage.
I find that fascinating. I think she's stuck in something, my cat, and I'm gonna go get her out before I.
Luna, yeah, I'll keep tabs on any questions that are coming in. So everyone that's watching.
She's trapped in the toilet.
Can you see how many people are tuning in yet?
Yeah. Sometimes it picks them up, sometimes it doesn't. There was a couple of people in there before. Thanks for checking on that. And I was just like,
I didn't know how long you were going to be with the cat then.
If she doesn't. So Luna was just trapped in the toilet, scratching the door and meowing if anyone couldn't hear her. And that was driving my spicy. Yeah. That's like when we were talking before about the paintings not being level, and I'm like, I can't concentrate if there's something that I can't. Yeah, I get it. I think back to household at an earlier stage, and studio space. Yeah.
And how just lined up and perfect things needed to be. And that's definitely something that's shifted for me, as much as I appreciate it, and that's my like kind of default.
Yeah.
I think having kids really
takes away the control.
Mortar and pestle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smash it up. Just.
Yeah.
Goodbye, straight line.
It's like that.
You can't have that anymore.
Yeah, and like tattooing's a great medicine for perfectionism.
I have witnessed that
in your own tattoo process.
Yeah, And like, because the people who have tattooed me and like my predominantly are really close people in my life, and I go to them and I just go like, you know, for me it's not a problem. I just go, here's my arm, do whatever you want. For them, that's you know, like, I really care about you, and you know, like, I'm meticulous, like everything has to be exactly as it is, but also I'm marking your skin forever and I like you as a person and I'm going to see you again.
See it.
So it has to be good, or it has to be this, or it has to be that. And I think you can see like the journey of a person, like you were just talking before about people that you've had before in Sydney and then picked them up again at this point, which is like got years in between. And you know, you can see the journey of an artist when they've tattooed you over a long period of time. Like, I think that Ben's been tattooing me for maybe since 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, I noticed it in the paintings as soon as we came in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, that's where he was at then.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure that was his first ever colour piece.
Yeah. Well, he has refined the palette, but it's remained,
hasn't he?
Close.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you can see it, hey?
But I think you can really, you know, like witness a person, you know, like I think it's an initiation, like on the receiving end, it's an initiation. And I definitely didn't have that perspective of it when I first started getting them. But as I've gotten older and the more self-development that I've done, the more I've gone and had tattoos done at the end of, you know, like particular trainings or particular evolutionary points in my life, and written intentions down and spoken to Ben or Mallory about them, and James, and they've been really beautiful in that process. And so like giving them something like an intention or a word or whatever, like, you know, just having that conversation about this part, and you know, this is what I'm going through or whatever, and then them, I've never gone in and said like, this is what I want you to do.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Really, it's always just been like, here you go. Do whatever you like.
Yeah.
And so I think that puts pressure on, but it also takes pressure off. But it's more around like, this is what I'm intending to, you know, like
that's the key,
program into my body right now. This is what I want this to represent for me of this point in my life.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, that's the core. That's the core of it, the intention. And then getting into a place where you see that square between you. But for the artist, and I notice this is very difficult. I found it difficult for a while until I clocked it. But for the artist to also relinquish their need for it to be something, or what they want to do, or the way they do it, or their style, for example. It's kind of pretty tangled in the contemporary space because people are looking for a style or an artist that, you know, does something they like. Where when you get to a certain point, so if you think of that, you know, development or journey of the artist stylistically, they're working things out, cutting their teeth. When you get to the point where it's no longer about that, and for me, it was like starting to understand the kind of objective functions and utility of tattooing, like the real bones of the thing, which has nothing to do with art, that the artist starts to get burnt off. The artist starts to get burnt off. Like, you got to take the artist hat off. So it's like, I can't bring the artist, the things that I want to draw or paint or design, into the process because it's not about that. It's about this particular intention here. And, you know, I'm speaking like very black and white. So obviously there's like, you know, there's wiggle room in here.
There's some
you are doing art.
Right? Yeah.
And someone is going to have something that they reference to a degree, something that'll inform it somehow. But at the end of the day, it's really about both people being open to comprehending why the tattoo is happening in the first place, and allowing some layer of patterning and marking to come in that fits and makes sense as an appropriate for that time, for that reason.
Do you feel that that's like, I don't know if this is going to sound a bit wafty, but like, do you feel like that's a soul collaboration for a point in time?
Soul's part of it, spirit's part of it, self's part of it. Like pretty multi-dimensional. Yeah. So like to track back a little bit, where you're saying you can kind of see the journey or the evolution of an artist on someone through time. You can see that now, right? But if you look at an old culture where tattooing is an established part of their culture, so it's not like a subculture within their culture.
Yep.
Like any traditional culture's tattoo practice.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, is it, like, just so that I'm clear, is what you mean, like, you know, if you look at lots of tattooists now and they have like their own individual style and things like that, but like I feel like what you're saying is like, for instance, with the Maori or something like that, they had like there was a you know, it was like a cultural style, and everyone tattooed within that style.
Yeah.
But they might have, you know, like then there's like that, you know, channeled interpretation of whatever the particular markings are, but it's all cohesively.
You wouldn't tell the difference between the artists because their identity is not as enmeshed in it.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So, you know, and this is like Filipino, Samoan, Tongan, whatever. It's like it's been walked. That pathway has been walked and is an aspect of a much larger basket of processes. It's not isolated.
Yeah.
That it's done a particular way, and it has place and purpose and meaning and story and the rest of it. And, you know, if you didn't, you can see this in like lots of different ways something's done within tattooing as well. It's the same with Japanese. So it's like there's something that makes the way Japanese tattooing is done Japanese. And if you were green to it, if you weren't like really adept in understanding it, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the artists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you start to go into like sort of teaching lineages and stuff. And then within a culture like, Maori or Polynesian or some of the Asian places, even European places, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference because it's not about the artist's expression. It's about an initiatory layer where they have a particular role that they're responsible for upkeeping, and you'd almost be seen as like arrogant to try and change something because it's been done a certain way for a very long time.
That puts such a different perspective onto tattooing.
Yeah. So then even in our current frame, it's like I used to think this about Japanese, and now I think about it just generally with what I'm tattooing, which is like far simpler and more pattern based, where can it remain consistent through time? So it's not trying to adapt to any particular style. There's just recipe and sequence that work for very simple reasons. And what appears within that approach. And then if I'm in a relationship where there's a teaching dynamic, so if I'm trying to transfer the way of doing something to somebody, can we comprehend it at a level where you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between who's doing the work on someone either?
Do you mean that with like your apprentices?
Yeah. Someone that I'm working with in that capacity. And I've seen that culturally, where it's like the teacher wants the people that are learning to just be able to pick up from where he might have finished something.
Yeah.
pretty fascinating thing to see. And you do see it amongst even just like styles, when an artist really nerds out or bites down on a style and tries to understand it. You know, it's like learning it enough first as a student before you add any signature of your own into something, which would probably be unrecognizable from outside of that.
Yeah, the naked
teaching or
eye,
something.
people that don't know. And
Yeah.
that, I feel like that speaks so much to collaboration, where our society is so fixated now on competition,
Yes, comparing and competing.
and that, you know, like speaks to collaboration, which is like, I want to impart the skills, I want to impart the knowledge, I want to impart the understanding and the ability to facilitate the process, rather than, you know, like, I want to teach you to be my subordinate, and, you know, like, then not celebrate the, you know, like, how exceptional that is. Like, that's a really different, you know, like, that I see that so much in the way that our society is constructed.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why I started this podcast, which is like, we can, like, what the fuck does good mean? Like, it's called the good man paradigm, but like what the fuck does good mean? To be good in the world is what? And how much of that is informed by society's measure of trying to get people to compete against each other, or to be good enough, or to, you know, like, just, you know, be self-sacrificing, because that's what we determine as a good person, as someone that puts themselves out for other people. And where have we lost collaboration and celebration and passion and purpose and power and, you know, determination? And I feel like what you're talking about is kind of like that ability to be able to be collaborative, and to be able to, you know, encourage the expansion of a process, rather than, you know, like, I have to have a stamp on this and it has to be mine.
Yeah. It really, you know, those questions around like, what is it to be good, and where things are currently at. It's so context dependent, hey, and frame dependent. So, because you could take a vantage point and say, like, to just be learning to do something that doesn't have any of your personality or signature is, you know, like being subordinate to something, right? But then you could also say that, you know, there's a level of being subordinate to self, if you allow it to just sort of lead the way as well, right? So depends which angle you're coming from, and what it's in relation to.
Yeah, and I guess, like, where is the difference between expression and creativity and inspiration and intuitive, like, guidance for whatever that comes out like, or interpretation, and that process of being able to.
The collaborative layer is huge. Hey, it's huge. So when you're actually in a process of taking someone through that type of thing, it's like, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, you need to get your hat off and out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to be bringing too much in to the process. This is like the sort of like power dynamics.
Yeah.
Which people really don't have much of a guideline with how to navigate that with someone when you're going through a process like tattooing. There's
artists, like, or people coming in,
both,
or both? Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah. There's
zero guidance. And they're like actually quite disconnected from each other.
Why?
Oh, good question. I think maybe it's like, we're quite infantile as a contemporary tattoo culture.
Yeah.
You know, like the current globalized experience is young. So what our story is and what influences why we do things is really at a stage where it's like, there's puzzle pieces scattered everywhere, and people don't even know what the picture on the box looks like.
It's like the was jig thing,
Seriously.
like put it together back to front.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that at the moment. So any of these processes that are, again, objectively changing you in a physical way, and then rippling through all of the other layers of yourself, like your psychology and your spirit and your soul and stuff. We're trying to work it out,
Yeah.
and it demands like a very high level of attention to actually figure it out. This is the fire of it, the initiatory fire of these types of processes. It's like it's going to ask you to sort of burn layers away if you really need it. And that's why it's important to have someone guiding you through it.
Yeah.
You can stumble your way through, but might not be successful, or it might take, a lot of approaches to actually get on the other side or something like that.
You see so much of this. I do, particularly like with the work that I do of watching this, like what you're talking about with that. This is reasonably new and young, and then if I look at like trauma processes and flow through ancestry and things like that, and you think about the disruption of the wars and then the Great Depression, and like the economic crises that have happened, and like as a result of, we were talking just before off camera about like spicy brains and neurodivergence, and my sort of unresearched take on that is that trauma creates neurodivergence, and why are so many people neurodivergent now or coming out as, and it's the new most popular thing. It's like, well, who is not a product of war? Like who in our generation, because if I think about New Zealand, I think I've said this before, that again, I don't research, my mum told me this, 1/10 of New Zealand's population died in the war. So 100,000 people died. There were only 1 million people in New Zealand. And so if you think about that, like how much of a population of people are not descendants of exceptional trauma?
Oh, yeah.
And then like no wonder we're in this place right now where we're like, there seems to be this upheaval of like what fits. And so when you talk about like tattooing in the state of that right now being young, I think there's a process right now happening of refinement or experimentation in just about every fucking sector. To figure out like it feels like the mass awakening of like, we're coming out of this fog, which is survival of trauma, and just put one foot in front of the other, to now this generation of people that are like, I'm gonna fucking do something with my life, or I'm gonna change things. And there's definitely an entire population of people that will stay in that victim state of, it's always going to be hard, it's never going to work. But I think that there's more and more people coming out now going like, hang on a minute, this is really important. Like, and this is something that we need to be able to bring forward. Like it did work once before, and we lost it because there was, I just think that those wars created
Rupture.
so much, disruption.
Ruptures. And even what were those wars? That's another one. So it's like, what was that rupture? So the way I talk about it for tattooing, to get someone like kind of up to speed and fill the gap, but like you said, it's kind of in all spheres. So I don't know what the sphere is specifically that you're taking people through a process with, like what that would have been back in the day.
I don't know.
But let's just say guiding. We can even just say coaching. Let's just say it's like that, you're holding that position. That's always been a thing, right? But we're sort of starting to come into contact with it in a way that feels older. In a new world, right? So we're infantile at it, right? But we can tap into, and we can sort of see. We can also see relics and remnants and like sort of tracks of where it has been before. Still exists, right? But with tattooing, it was, the language I use is sacred, right? So it's like, it's this sacred, elevated process,
initiatory
process. And it was used through every culture. Every culture, every country on the planet, there's a process that's initiatory, that has ritual wounding, particular mechanism. And so that's like tattooing or scarring or whatever, some other feats.
When I studied jewellery, I actually did a whole project on scarification.
There you go.
So
Right.
just remember that when you were talking about it. Yeah.
And so there's this rupture event is a collision. And I want to put a big question mark on it.
Yeah.
Because when you start looking at history and trying to understand things, it's like,
we should not have to go down that rabbit hole. It doesn't make sense.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Something happened at that point, and you can follow history books, and it will say, there's like colonizing in different places that resulted in suppression of different cultural acts and ways.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of types of ceremony and initiation and tattooing and cutting and stuff are one of those things. Like, don't do it. But its place in those cultures was something that was supportive, elevated, the person was valuable, was honored. It's an important place that lifted people up. So it was like, you can't do it. And then the particular administration of people that were suppressing it started to use the same act to shame and condemn and label and outcast and exile through marking slaves, prisoners of war, criminals.
That's wild when you start to think about it like that.
So if you think of it as a tool, it's like it was used in one way and then it changed hands and it got used the other way.
Yeah, it was like often used for like warriors and things like that, which is representative of strength and power and all of those things, and then and then oppression, and shame and guilt.
Yeah, but it
slavery.
does a job. Anyway.
Yeah,
and the job is that lots of jobs. Hammer can hammer a nail or take one out or whatever, break something. Part of it was that it amplifies, it holds a particular story. And so if it goes from like amplifying the warrior and honoring them, it's gone to like amplifying the outcast or the criminal, someone that's like has a particular place in society that's being condemned, and this is very stereotyped here, like stereotypical. Let's say the criminal starts getting tattooed and they can see and feel and receive like the significance of that marking. So they could be telling them a story like, oh, everyone knows I'm a criminal now. But then there's a layer of like, oh, everyone knows I'm a criminal now. I can also use that. And this is where it starts to actually get integrated into all of these different sort of like shadow and underbelly tiers of society for a long time. Gangsters became a real power play.
Yeah, we saw when we went to India, we have a question, Pia, so cool. We'll get to that. When we went to India, I'm like white girl, red hair, went with Ben, who's South American, and he was covered in tattoos, and nobody paid any attention to me. They would give me the camera to take photos of them with him, because in India, big tattoos are a sign of wealth. And small tattoos are like, you can get like little markings on the street anywhere, but actual like big tattoos were a sign that you had wealth, or that it was actually like across the board, no matter where we went in India. If I was with Ben, he was really resentful of it by the end, but he would get all of the attention because mine were covered up.
So interesting.
And it didn't, they were so like magnetized to him because he had tattoos.
He would have found that so annoying. He's such like a quiet.
He's so humble.
Human. Yeah.
I'd be like, would you like me to take the photo? And he'd be like, fuck you. I'm like, it's not
so funny.
Yeah, it was great. Funny. It was interesting. Our question is, So put it on the screen. How do you know what's truly yours versus what you've been conditioned to believe?
Within tattooing or within your identity and your story?
Yeah, and I feel like this question did come through. So that's from Joanna, who is an absolute legend. That question came through around the time that we were talking about war and the impact of trauma and, and then the markings and things like that. So I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, or put up some more information about that. But I think around that, like conditioning of society and conditioning of like family units and things like that, but then also belief systems around like, what do we, you could talk about that in so many different angles. Like, why do we get certain pieces of artwork? Why do we think that
what's yours and what's someone else's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
what's yours and what's conditioning.
You need to spend time with it and work out whether you've chosen it or not. Whether it's something you've chosen or not.
Yeah.
There's a couple of layers to this. That when I've mapped that,
she said correct.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, when I've had to sit with something, I'll do the tattoo layer and then I'll do the other layer, even though they're connected, because that's what your tattoos are anyway. It's all identity, story. So with tattooing, I get people to sort of catch whether it's internal or external first, directionally. So is the thing that I'm tattooing is it entering my consideration even through an external influence or from an internal one?
Can you give an example of that?
I like the look of this. I like this pattern. And I want to get it tattooed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's the external.
Yeah.
Or someone got tattooed in a reel, or my friend got a tattoo done and I really like it.
Or here's this design, can you please replicate this on my body?
Yeah. Or is it internal? So like internally I have a feeling or a desire or a felt sense or a reason I should mark this particular thing that happened. So I usually start with tracking that. And then once you know where it's come from, then you can do like another pass on that. Whether it feels right. Because an external thing could be very valid. And maybe, and you, especially like a cultural piece. It's a big one where it's reflected to you, and the process of mimicking mimosis is like it's shaping who you're becoming in a healthy way. It's when it's unconscious that it becomes a bit unhealthy. But if you go like that layer deeper and you move away from just tattooing, like whether a particular story is yours or a felt sense, if you keep it real basic, sadness or fear or guilt or shame, all these things, none of them are really ours. There's like they belong to the human, right? And then you can sort of like dig under that as well. It's like a window into something that's a shared thing. And we might be carrying it because it's been dropped off on us.
Balloons just went up on the screen and I have no idea why or where they came from.
Balloons. It's funny. Better than the thumbs down I got before we started.
Boo.
Yeah. So I mean that moving beyond like your story and identification with something like that to it actually belongs to the culture of man and the human. I saw these stages in the excavation of self that I think are the fundamental initiatory process. Like this is like when you get down to it and start splitting the threads on initiation. The real deep initiation, the sacred one, is into that layer where you move beyond self. It's not all about you anymore, actually. Yeah.
I see a lot of that in, the more self-development you do, The more research into yourself, the more understanding you have of who you are, how you got to be where you are, what happened to you in your life, how much you've had to overcome, how much you've had to understand, how much you've had to integrate. That level of like reactivity comes down, or your ability to experience or be present in a situation to understand something is heightened or cleared, I think, in a way. Of like, I finished with a 12-month client today, and he was just saying, I these stories, I see them in my head now. He's like, oh, just it's another fucking story.
Yeah.
And I can catch those, and I feel like that's kind of that excavation, right? Like that understanding, like fundamentally, like how much of my life, and I think that's really hard for a lot of people. Like I say to the guys every week, like, none of this is easy. Like confronting yourself is the hardest thing you'll ever have to do, and you have to do it repetitively until you die. And every day you have a choice. Like, do I like this or don't I? And if I do, then keep going. And if I don't, what do I need to do to change that? But I think when we're functioning on like those conditioned belief systems, or the reaction of the experience and the information of our life without conscious understanding, then we are in that like external state, really. I don't think we have like a good measure of how to decipher.
Yeah. If we over-identify with it.
Yeah.
And it's like
it's ownership.
Yeah, too much about the self. Like I had one guy explaining to me, it's like you become full of yourself. It's like it's all about yourself. Instead of getting over the self, becoming a bit selfless in the process.
Yeah.
Where the story, when you start to bring in that level of seeing it, catching it, like your client said, you're catching it. It's like, yeah, how many times do I need to say the story? The story, and you can see the story, and it's like you can let go of the story. You can't carry the story anymore.
Yeah.
I've had clients come in where it's like so programmed and obvious that it's like it's in the email, the story, then it's in the phone call, the story, and then they finally come in, and then the story's there. Yeah. And even down to like I've had a couple of times where it's like, here's my story written. Here's the story.
Yeah.
And I'm here for the tattoo. And it's like, okay.
Do we want to keep
the story?
Do we want to keep that story?
I'm not going to write the story into your arm so you can carry it around for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like a sandbag.
Yeah.
We're going to let go of that story now. Let go of that version of yourself so that you can come into contact with the part of yourself that you haven't even met yet, that's just been there all along underneath that sandbag.
Yeah, waiting for you to. I say, like for me, it's like I'm tired of singing my sad song now. Like I'm just, it's like I get to a point where I've heard myself repeat the same thing or complain about the same thing for long enough, where I go like, okay, all right, I'm done with that now. Like let's move on. Let's move forward. Like, again, do I like it? Yes or no? No. Okay, and now I'm tired of it. So what am I going to change? What needs to be? What's the new actions? And I think, a lot of people get stuck in that, the ownership or the
sticky,
the identity. Oh, yeah, it's got fucking hooks of who that means that they are. But also, like, I don't know whether it's uncomfortable for the people or not, but like the cop out that is about being an active participant in your life. Like, I think that, the story means that you can, like, you've got a reason not to. Or you've got a reason, you've got an excuse why you can't, or what's in the way, or all of the things that prevent that from happening. But the more that you understand yourself, the more work you do on yourself, it's like the more that sort of starts to. I've definitely noticed that. I was rageful. We talked before about being the year of the dragon, and I'm an Aries and stuff like that. I'm a redhead. I was rageful when I was young. And so, the fact that I can quietly listen to people or sit in conversation, and those sorts of things have been is like markers for me of 15 years worth of work. But also the detachment from, am I looking to add value in this space, or am I looking for validation of my story?
Yeah.
Like what are we, why am I participating in this? Or
Why am I sending a post even? Why am I doing anything?
Yeah,
am
yeah.
I sharing something because it makes me feel good, or because it is good?
Yeah, value or validation.
Yeah, that is good. So I guess we could come
what the
back
fuck
to
is good?
and we could be like, well, it's a value add.
Yeah.
Is there a value add there?
Is there an addition to,
or is it a validation layer?
Mm.
Double edged. We can go so cryptic and paradoxical, because then it's like sometimes you need to validate things too.
Well, and I think that there's always going to be there's always going to be threads of both in everything that you do, right? Otherwise, you would not put anything out on socials. You would not be having those discussions. You would not be in pursuit of being better than you were. Like as an artist, you wouldn't be focused on improvement or like skill and technique and refinement and all of those things. You would just, if you weren't.
And sometimes we let those bits go too. Like the angle on the, because it's like that with the tattooing. It's like the stage where I was comparing and competing the most stifled me creatively. I learnt a lot technically, but I was never going to be the thing I was comparing and competing with, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like letting go of that identity and moving into a whole different space. And so, like, just to give some visual, it's like I was learning to do Japanese, and I wanted to be like really good at Japanese tattooing.
Yeah.
It's a particular way to do something. Like the people I was working with and teachers were really good at it. So I'd never be like them. You're not going to catch that. And it's like tattooing is really long form too. It takes a long time to see what you're doing. And once that snapped, and it was like, okay, I'm just going to do something like geometry, dot work, whole different space. And there was like freedom, no comparing and competing. I still technically was like path of betterment, be the best artist possible, make it like, CGI
technically
level.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next layer is like when that cracks, and then you see that actually that's still compromising it from having the human error that gives something the real raw beauty.
Yeah.
Like the real rich beauty. Then it's like, okay. Now there's like this other layer to it, which almost can allow something to loosen and not be about the perfecting and making sure it's better every time. Consistency is almost like a bit higher up there than it needing to be better than the last. Like maybe it just needs to just keep being
consistent.
There. Yeah. Don't need to change the style. Just do what's been done before. That layer.
Yeah. I was having this conversation today around like that consistency is like one of the single most important things that you can do is to continuously show up in a level of dedication to whatever you're in pursuit of.
Yeah.
But it's I'm in, I'm out.
It's happening anyway. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that consistency over years, and like you said, like tattoos long form, and that if I look at I think Ben's been tattooing me for 10 years or something like that, you can see that long form change and understanding of what something is, and the ebbs and flows of the development of that as well. But that consistency is the only factor in that that is consistent.
What's happening consistently? It's like you're breathing, sun's coming up and down, and you're aging day by day. Like consistently, these things are happening. You're not going to stop them, and so they're all going to add up regardless of what you do. So it's like you're doing something consistently or not. Maybe the not doing is your consistent thing. That all is going to add up as well. You can't escape the tick.
Yeah. The long form edition
It's
of your
happening.
life.
It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the, for me, why I do what I do. It's like that. I'm in pursuit of something that feels like it needs to. I used to watch Ben Tattoo and then come home and draw, and I would be like, this is obsessive. You can't do anything else. Like, what is going on? And I didn't have that. I could watch what passion for something and conviction for something looked like, and I could see that with one of my best friends, Jean, and her jewelry, and she's still like so committed to that. Jean Burgers, yeah, stunning. That's her in my necklace, but yeah, like just her, but her craft is so meticulously beautiful. And James, and I was watching all of these people around me who had these, but like when I was living in Melbourne, graffiti artists and tattooists and all these really creative people, and I was just like, I don't have that thing. I felt like I was really easily influenced by that's the external. I think that's how I got my job in safety in the mines, because my best friend did safety at festivals, and I was just like, oh no, that sounds cool, I'll go and do that. But then now this, like, men's coaching, what I'm doing feels like this intuitive conviction, like I have to pursue this. And it's not, like it's this thing that has to come out into the world, rather than, and there's always going to, and the consistency of that is, I've been showing up for 4 years now, and that's
4 years now.
Yeah, that's the.
It was quick, eh?
It does. Yeah. Doesn't feel like it.
You're really making me think of the devotional aspect, which comes with initiating into something, and the stage before that is what I call the eternal wanderer, where you're constantly picking something up and putting it down.
Yeah.
And none of it strings together.
Yep.
You can pick up and put down anything you want at any time, right? And this is where the artist falls into this space, unfortunately, a lot of the time. And that's the constant, like, a new style or a new thing, or a big, they devote to themselves and it becomes about them. Whereas, this other way that we're talking about, where it's no longer about you and you're initiating into a process that's beyond.
Yeah.
So I'd say into initiation into the mystery, where you go beyond self and you're contributing to something else.
Yeah.
Then there is this sort of like, through the devotion, there's this limiting of option in a way that really serves. This is consistency. So it's like, because there's no other option, I've already committed, initiated. I'm not putting this one down. Picked it up. I can now focus and go to a point of refinement and depth that would never be possible until that particular line's been crossed, and everything else is being removed.
Oh, okay, we're back. We're back on. We're just having some minor technical internet difficulties. I'll just take this moment to say, if you're enjoying the conversation, please like and subscribe. And if you've got questions or if you've got topics, we're clearly quite open to that. So
Go anywhere with the chat.
please send them through, and we'll try and stay online.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last word I remember you saying was tundra.
Oh, that was me making a joke about us being frozen.
Oh,
If they could hear us, it's like we're here.
we're here.
Just sending out a.
We're out here. Sorry,
that's
that just
yeah,
totally rattled my brain.
that's fine. Yeah. Where were we tracking? I can't remember now.
Consistency, devotional path,
Oh yeah, we're talking about the wandering opposed to
the eternal wanderer.
initiating.
Yes.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was saying there's like marriage is a model for it, for devotion.
Ah,
So you could think of it like you're married to coaching.
I kind of am.
Which means it's like I'm actually not going to put my attention and focus in the same capacity as this. This is a unique relationship. It's the relationship, right? I need to think about, like, I'm not going to be distracted by other things now that want my attention, because I've moved into a space of, committing through an initiatory process that makes it devotional, that circumscribes it. And that focus is the thing that then sets it on fire.
Yeah.
Think of the magnifying glass, sets it on fire. And so through that, you're now in this process of like, well, all of the stuff that's untrue is going to burn off if you're going to stay in this thing.
I feel like you've just helped me to see what I'm doing in like a...
It's like, it's all got to go now.
Yeah.
And what will remain is the essence of that. And, the essence of you, beyond all of the stories of you, it's like, well, stories will only get so far with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's turned up,
Well, and devotion says that a lot of those things can't stay.
Yeah.
Like so much of that can't.
Well, all the things
withstand.
that don't stay are the things that were keeping you from having that relationship in the first place.
Yeah.
They're the ones that take you elsewhere. The distracted one, the inconsistent one, the scared one, the triggered one.
Do you find that the eternal, like you talked about the eternal wanderer before, I really like that term. Do you feel like, I can see it in when you were saying that, I was like, oh, that's fucking fascinating. But do you see like, is it eternal wandering? I mean, yes, it is, but in lots of ways, but because there is like a pick it up and put it down and a pick it up. We got balloons again. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this thing tonight. It's a wild adventure. Thanks for coming. The process of a lifetime of experience of that eternal wandering, like I'm going to go here and I'm going to go here. But do you see themes of that for people?
Yeah.
Like woven through that, where it's like, yes, it's internal wandering, but it's also information gathering.
For sure, mapping.
Yeah.
Mapping like extremities. It's like mapping different things to sort of know what the terrain is. I think that is life. But then there's a layer of getting serious about it.
Yeah.
Getting serious about it. Like, why am I mapping?
What am I mapping?
So like the eternal wanderer is also like the spiritual tourist. Yeah. So we're going to brush up.
Where are we going? Awakening.
To Italy.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll come back. And I'm on that journey for myself.
Yeah.
To fill myself up with more stuff for myself. Opposed to the pilgrim. The one that gets on the Camino and walks 1,000 kilometers into Santiago to remove themselves, like literally remove layers of skin from their feet and their shoulders. And they're doing it to disrupt to disrupt the thing, opposed to satiate those layers.
The need.
Mm.
Do you see in your life where you went from the tourist to the pilgrimage?
Yeah, and it's like layered.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, multiple layers, hey. But a big one, I think, was just like coming into contact with what I call the creator, coming into contact with real sacred space.
What was that for you?
Initially, so there's like a kind of a string that got me there, but and anyone that's like listening or watching on my end heard me talk about this stuff a million times, but I'll do it anyway because it's important. So there was a particular teacher for me, Navajo holy man, who ended up being the model of that and bringing me back into contact with it. I grew up in a household that was Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, there was like a very natural and like unquestioning connection to God. Just like, oh yeah, makes sense that there's something intelligent that's kind of beyond this place. And that relationship was very established and easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you grow up and like things get a bit confusing in life. Programs, you know, all of those. Very natural process, but it's like you become lost. You become very lost.
Mm.
And that's where the wandering comes in, I think. And then there was two like really big disruptors, one of them being psychedelic substances, but very hyphenated. So it's like I didn't do much of that at all.
Okay.
You know, like drank a bit, and this is like early teens. And there was a stage where I used a particular chemical that's very strong, and that one, you know, shattered a lot of illusion, worldly illusion, and reeling off the back of that, there was a bit of me that was like, okay, who comprehends this in a way that's more refined, that makes sense? And that led me to traditional cultures. So this started shifting a lot of what was happening for me in the tattoo space.
How old, roughly, were you?
Maybe 20, early 20s.
Mm.
Yeah. And then, long story short, you know, from that one, it led me into contact with, you know, living, embodied teachers that had that relationship and understood the things that I've been exposed to very well and clearly. And so it was like finding my way back to that childhood place in a way that made sense. I was like, oh, this is that again. I can have those conversations again. And that was, if I was to like, yeah, draw a line, that was like the first conscious and successful initiatory threshold that I think has been integrated, opposed to indirect initiatory things that come up, and you know, sometimes you reject those things, sometimes, you know, there's like even like a type of possession that might happen in that type of a space, but one that I crossed with awareness, successfully integrated and limited. From that point was just like this lane now.
Yeah.
Within that there's nuance, but you're mapping less.
Yeah.
You're mapping less after that point.
Yeah. Like the seeking or the searching becomes more focused.
Yeah, and there'll still be elevated points in that.
Yeah.
You know, like this is a visual of that. Has anyone seen like the unalome? It's very well known. Lots of people get it tattooed.
Yep.
But it's a spiral into these wide looping turns that eventually get
To a
short
point.
and then straight line dot back into the center.
Yeah.
That's that mapping process.
I was just, as you were saying that, I was like, oh,
You
yeah.
spiral out. So it's like you're born
Yeah.
in the center, and life takes you away from the center, takes you all the way out to this edge when
You have that point.
It's like, oh, the spiritual bell in the center of my being is ringing.
Has told.
Am I going to respond to that or not?
Which is the invitation.
Invitation, calling.
Yeah.
And then you're in this mapping process of needing to go into a layer of exploring and journeying, and working out what is and what isn't. What's this? What's that?
Just as you're saying that, like, it occurs to me that it's fascinating that potentially, if we come back to that war conversation, you know, like war created such devastation and such dismantling of society, and then the shit show that was COVID seems to have also been a war of sorts, but seemed to be the awakening point, or that spiritual, you know, like invitation point for so many people. Like my redundancy was as a result of that, which was led to the I'm not getting another job again until I know what I'm passionate about, which led me to where I am right now. But, you know, like so many people you see come out of that came out with like a, you know, like the righteous devotion of like, I have to do this now. It was like a mass point of awakening, or that, you know, like finding that extremity of like pushing the belief system so far and the conditioning and the, you know, like what's yours and what's someone else's. I think that was probably like that snapping point for so many people.
COVID was.
Yeah.
War would be like that type of conflict and trauma would be. I'm thinking of it in terms of like pathways to divinity. So like, again, the sacred being the center point, source of everything, ultimate truth beyond all story and perception that's individualized, right? Thing that's just there.
And that's divinity.
Yeah, moves the sun, moves your heart, my heart. You can't avoid it.
It's undeniable.
Yeah, it touches everything. And there's lots of pathways that sort of like all converge to get you there. That's, again, this sort of like thing we're talking about. And most from this isn't like to be quoted or me going, this is the way. It is, right? But what I see is lots of people follow paths that will lead them to wanting to know the truth of something as a precursor, or kind of like a loading station for making contact with the sacred and divinity. So it might be like purpose, values, integrity, all of these things people want to work on. That ultimately, if you're following that thread, it's going to come down to like, well, then what's the truth of that? So what is good? What is bad? What's the truth? I want to know the truth of it. And then the truth of it is your entry point to making contact with that next thing, the elevated layer.
Yeah, and then comes the stripping.
Yeah, again, it's like you're creating the circle that will set the thing on fire. A good way I've had it explained in terms of like, well, what's truth? It's like, well, there's the sun, and then rays of light, the thing that touch us, the sun, right? That's truth. It's like, so like truth and divinity are inseparable. They just are. it's not a question of like, is it or isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, is the sun going to
emanates
rise?
from the source, and it is.
Mm.
That's truth.
How do you see that playing out with like collective consciousness and what we're doing, like the is that a measure of, like like you and I are both on different paths, but the same or a very similar path in a way, and like how do you see that playing out with like, like individuals, but then the collective? Does it make sense?
Kind of. And so, like, we're paralleling each other on some path. Otherwise, we wouldn't be like sharing proximity in this way, I reckon.
Yeah. It's also
So
like,
we're part of a bigger soup.
yeah, yeah, the human soup. But I think, like that's that I'm trying to put it
It's
in
all right.
better terms than that. But like, the people that are asleep and people that are awake, is one of the things that I hear a lot from people. But it's that like what I think you see it in other people when you see like that person has that thing, like that they're doing the thing that they believe in or that they feel like called to.
Yeah.
And like I think that's like that, separating yourself from the mass collective, but then formulating that other collective. And is that the devotional path? And how does that inform, I guess?
I think that when I say the devotional piece, it's like you're coming into awareness of that sort of stage where it's like, actually, I'm gonna
there's something greater at
stay
play.
awake to this thing. I might have been like flicking in and out of consciousness of,
As I was doing my eternal wandering.
Yeah, I'm flicking in and out of awareness of this particular facet of myself or reality or whatever it is. And I think the devotional bit is like when you catch it and you don't fall asleep to it. And again, there's the initiatory line. This is where different tools, processes, instruments that exist to move people into that place of like, well,
you can't ignore this now.
Toothpicks in your eyes now.
You're propped.
No,
you have to go.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
There's things in place that stop you backsliding.
Yeah.
The door gets shut, the key gets locked, the door disappears.
Yeah. You're here now.
Into that place again. You can feel when you're in that particular it's like the field of that
frequency,
density of it, opposed to someone that isn't. But it's like, but you're very connected to the person who isn't too, because you're in the same field as each other in that point in time. So there's something's happening there too, right? Yeah. Don't know if that answers your question, but
I don't know if I had a very good question, to be honest. It was a good thought process. It's like the more that you speak about like those pathways and the difference between like wandering or awakening to that devotion and those sorts of things, I can just like, I'm reflecting on my journey of that and just seeing like when I started my jewelry business, I started by I was like, I'm going to make one-off rings for women, blah, 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 blah. And I was in Melbourne. And then I was like a month in and I was like, fuck that. I'm going to make men's rings because I don't even like dainty shit. I like really strong pieces, and men get signet rings or they get skull rings and whatever. And so I like my jewelry brand was specializing in men's jewelry statement pieces. And then when I went and worked in the mines, a couple of like years later, I went and worked in the mines, and my job was to spend 6 hours in the field every day with the guys. And so like wasn't part of my team really for the first 2 years that I was there. I was just like put out, and my job was to go and talk to different work groups of men all day, every day.
Okay.
And then
what was the role?
I was a safety advisor.
Okay.
So I was the one person that nobody wanted.
right? I was a woman and I was safety. It's
Okay.
like, that's
Yeah.
like ducks on the pond,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
tools down, all the things. And over time, I, yeah, like became a person that men would seek out so they could talk to about their problems and stuff that was going on and all of that sort of thing. And then when I started my coaching business, which was that pursuit of passion for me, I started working with women, and then I got a year and a half in and I was like, I think I have to work with men. And actually, like the business that I was working for, managing sales at the time, that was my intro to sales. But in the time that I was managing that role, we had 50% male participants in the retreats that we were doing. And because I was managing, I was the salesperson. And that business had predominantly only ever really had women and very few men. And then when I was doing the sales, we had 50% male participants attend the retreats. And then when I stopped doing sales, it was all women again.
Yeah, okay.
And so like
Very interesting.
when you talk about that, and I grew up in the outback in the desert, and I used to go out stations shooting with my dad and fishing with my dad and all of that sort of stuff around a lot of boys. Very blokey stuff.
Yes.
Very blokey stuff.
Yeah.
Used to drive around in cars with boys, lots of V8s.
Mullets.
No, not mullets. No, but just lots of Tiranas looking everywhere. But very good car to have now.
Oh, I wish I had that.
Yeah,
That'd be nice.
But when you think about like what I'm thinking about is that wandering and the eternal wandering, but the thread through so much of
each time there's a pattern.
Yeah. And then so with my coaching business, it was like, I think I have to work with men because I helped a guy roll his swag up, and and like my dad taught me that you can judge a man by the way he rolls his swag.
Oh, interesting. Haven't heard that one.
So that was like when I was a kid growing up, that was you can make the measure of a man by how tightly and how neatly he rolls his swag.
Wow.
My dad is meticulous. It's the tightest swag you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I had this whole I got a double swag when I was up in Mackay, and I rolled it up and I FaceTimed my dad to be like, I did this by myself. Like I rolled my double swag by myself.
Yeah.
So this guy at one of the retreats had a double swag, and I was like, oh, do you want to help? And he was like, no, you're right. And so I got down and I was like, just fucking whatever. And I helped him, and he looked at me and he went, when we'd finished, and he went, you're all right, you are. And I knew in that moment that he had judged me by how I helped him roll his swag. Like it was just this, like I was like, oh, that just happened. And then he told me his life story pretty much, or like some really significant stuff, and just said, I've never ever told anyone ever any of that. And that moment for me was like I think I have to work with men.
Yeah.
I think this is it. And then I ended up signing him as a client. And then within 24 hours, I had 2 guys signed. And I had my first session with him the next day. And I was just like, this is it. I said to my coach at the time, I was like, this is fucking it. Like I got off that call and I was like, yeah, this is it.
Interesting.
And then I switched my whole coaching business to work with men.
Yeah.
But if I look at the thread of
the
wandering.
Yeah, there's obviously a magnetism there.
Always.
Right?
Yeah.
Keeps bringing you back, and then you overshoot it.
Yeah.
And then you cross it again, and you overshoot it, and it pulls you back, cross over it again.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, so what's that thread? Because when you get it, that's when you can stick to it and not overshoot it. So it's like, what is the thing that keeps bringing you in contact with the men? Why is the magnetic charge so strong there? And that would be the next layer under it.
Yeah. I think I know what that is, but
yeah, what is it?
I was sexually abused between the ages of 10 and 15. Yeah. So sorry, that was a bit blunt.
It's okay.
Trauma. I've worked on that a lot. But question?
No, I'm just wondering how far to go with you here in that space. And
I'm open to any of it.
Yeah. So the 2 bits that came in for me listening to the story is like. So what did your dad say when you sent him the photo of the swag you rolled up?
I FaceTimed him and he
Oh,
said,
Amazing. Yeah.
my dad doesn't use very many words.
Okay.
He was impressed though. I could see it in his face. He was proud.
Yeah. Would he be prouder, do you think, if there was someone rolling your swag up for you at that level? If he saw that someone rolled your swag up for you like the way he would?
I've honestly never thought of that.
Like, who's rolling your swag up for you?
Yeah. Yeah, no one.
That was the visual I was getting, where it's like you're attracted there and you're doing it.
Yeah.
Who's doing it for you? And so then the trauma piece makes sense with the bind
Yeah.
as well, of needing to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there's a lot of safety and protection
100%.
and trust
Like
stuff.
it makes sense, the form of it.
Mm.
And so it's beautiful. You can see it because it's like that you can tend to that thing.
Mm.
You can tend to it. You know what that thing is that's pulling you into that space. It's like it's always it's a gift. You know, heart can be hard to see things that are so formative and like challenging as gifts. And like, you know, probably not the space to go into like details on it. Right.
Well, I don't.
And like maybe people have heard it or
I talk about it quite freely.
And it's like it's like the story layer.
Mm.
You know, underneath that story going, you know, what the next bit is.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the thing that I see from that is, and where I've gotten to, or a large chunk of that is that we were all a product of our environment, social conditioning. You know, like we were in following the role models that we had in our lives at the time.
It's like the indirect things that you.
Yeah.
No one's coming to you and saying, "I'm gonna teach you this." It's just happening.
Well, and you recreate what you're trying to escape as well, I think. And so there's a lot of that like influence around. And what I look at it now, like 15 years of personal development and lots of therapy later, I look at that and I go, well, those young men and boys were in the same situation with me. You know, like they were a product of their environment just as much as I was a product of my environment. And those two things collided, and two people had two very different experiences, but we were all a product of our environment at the time. And what I see in that inherently now is that what we didn't have were informed male role models. We didn't have men leading the way, showing us what it looked like to be emotionally aware, regulated, understanding yourself, knowing what's your story and what's you and what's the difference between those things. We didn't have that. Men weren't encouraged to do that. It's still somewhat frowned upon, particularly in harsh environments like in the outback. Yeah. And so, you know, like I learn from that and just go, well, I can't change what happened to me. I can't change that trauma. What I can do is shift it and do something with it. You know, like I can use the information from that, the learning from that, to be able to inform what I can do to change it for the next generation, or how I can use, not to be cliche, but like how you can turn pain into power or pain into purpose, right? It's like I honestly look at people who have had hard lives or traumatic experiences, and I think the greater the trauma, the bigger the mission. You know, like because it's the level of self-development, self-awareness, self-confrontation that you have to, that's the for me, like you talking about like the fire, I've always sort of said, you know, like you have to go through a baptism of fire. There has to be a point that's the initiation. I'm just like all this, where you are stripped bare of that being why life is so hard for you, or the story around why you can or cannot do things, or that influences the awake and the asleep, or the missing the, you know, getting thrown off the path. I think that initiation is kind of like that confrontation with self, where you're stripped bare of all of that, and you have to be able to see it and go, you know, it's my choice.
Yeah.
I can be hindered by this for the rest of my life, or I can do something in the world.
Yeah.
Do something meaningful.
Yeah. What was that point for you in terms of your story up to there, and then going like, that's going to burn away?
Can you ask that in a bit of a different way?
Yeah. Which stage was the identity getting set on fire, do you think? Because we're talking about like the mapping different things, but then kept getting pulled back to the thread through it. And so it's like, was it the jeweler going like, no, or
I was made redundant from the mining job.
it was the COVID.
Yeah.
COVID one.
Yeah, they were bringing the mandate into work, and I was I went from getting one to getting harm from that to I'm unequivocally absolutely not ever putting that in my body ever again. I'm never doing that again. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I don't even believe in this shit. I'm out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I made that swing, and I sort of was in my position, and my division was rolling out the mandate, and I was just, and I sort of became the unofficial spokesperson. I don't know how I got myself into the situation, but I kind of became the unofficial spokesperson for the people that didn't want to get it, because I was a contractor and I was fucking out of there anyway.
Yeah.
But the moments before that, when I look in hindsight, like, I was getting bored. I could see myself getting bored and being like, I'm not really interested in this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? And does this serve me? And do I even agree with this fucking mining system that is built on raping and pillaging the earth and all of that sort of stuff? So if I look back, there were signals, but I look at, you know, self-sabotage and chaos, causing chaos in your life. And if you're not aware of the path, or you're not on it, then you'll, you know, like, run into dramatic chaos in your life.
Yeah.
So redundancy, I was made redundant overnight. There was a whole bunch of other circumstances that happened that made that 3 weeks of my life the worst, I think, that I've encountered. But then I was made redundant. I walked out the gate, and then they turned my access off. And then I got a phone call to say, you can't go back. And I was just left sitting on my floor going like, what do I fucking do now?
Yeah.
And who am I? And my whole life had melted down around me in that last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was having panic attacks and all sorts of.
I think this covers a little bit of one of the other questions you had before real clearly, where you're like, what's the collective consciousness and then individual pathing? And I think you can come to that point of the fire, which is the different paths that lead ultimately to truth at some point. You can have a collective threshold, where it's like you're coming in contact with this collective universal layer of truth, where it's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
COVID's that. This is bullshit. No. The way people have lost their fucking humanity, you know, the way things are happening in the world for everyone, this bigger thing leads to that truth edge, and then it's like fire. So old universal story, collective story burns up. The collective illusion burns up. Yeah. And like now you're in this like raw world. Okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then you can have an individual one as well, where your individual story hits that. And then there's like this other one that leaves you going like, well, who am I now? That one going as well, you know, and that's it's a big thing. Spend a lot of time next to people in the bed. Bed, just like those, like just on the cusp, or in it, or on the back of it, you know, and then tracking and mapping all of that in terms of what they're locking in to their story.
What does that feel like? How does, so many questions. What does that feel like for you to sit in on a regular basis? And my other question is, does that impact you and your story or your consciousness? And
so to answer the second one first, it's a strange impact that it has, but it's like I'm like everyone else, so it becomes part of my story.
yeah,
Like the things that I'm trying to work through and see and unpack, stay awake to, integrate, are over the top of the thing that I'm doing.
yep, multidimensional
Which ends up, funnily enough, it's like that thing, like yourself, is like actually taking people through these processes, guiding people through these processes anyway. So, what that's looked like for me has been, identifying as the artist, like we talked about, identifying as the healer, therapist, identify. So, it just keeps reinventing itself, kept doing that. So having to see that, letting those bits burn off until the self sort of just stops trying to reinvent itself. It's not there anymore. And I'm not saying that that's where I'm at, that it's not there anymore.
Yeah, because there's still the human meat suit existence, right?
Just trying to keep the awareness as much as I can to allow spirit and essence without all of those layers to be the one that's there, leading things. And in the tattoo space, that's very easy for me. I think because of that layer of structure that I have in terms of initiatory overlay framework that keeps removing stuff, and it's like the most contained and pure space that I sort of come into. So it's quite easy to be in that. Life's kind of happening around it.
Yeah.
And then how it feels being with people going through that, it's just very, very familiar. And I think because of the layers that I've gone through in it, things that once were harder to manage, harder to navigate, I have clarity on a lot of these different things that I see other people come up against, that I can just relax and lean back into it. There's a very strong tether, very strong relationship in terms of people navigating something that's turbulent, not always easy. Like, it's not the brochure.
This does not look like the brochure.
So I get some people coming down, like, they're not looking for the brochure.
Yeah.
That a lot of the time looks like very deep, connected, aligned process that's very beautiful. It's like, it's the fun part of the job. Yeah. Someone coming up going like, I want to go on a pilgrimage. I'm there, and it's like, amazing.
I'm ready.
Lead the way, brother. I'll support you wherever I can.
Yeah.
Have you been this way before? I've walked this one before. I haven't walked that,
Yeah.
Opposed to the person that might turn up and they're still very self-led, even though that, that essence, the thing that's there's brought them into proximity, wants to go through that baptismal fire you talk about, that can still come in. And initially that was hard to be next to, because I'm like, what's going on? What's happening here? Why is this person not having a good experience? Is it me?
Yeah, how much responsibility do you take?
Bad tattoo? What did I do wrong here? Blah, blah, blah. And getting to a point of going like, this person's rocked up with a brochure in their hand.
Yeah. And you just...
They want white linen on the beach.
You just found the...
bath at the end.
Do you feel like that's like you finding Like that feels like a sort of like an involuntary tearing down of a wall.
Sucks.
Mm.
But I'm devoted
Or two
to
souls meet.
consistency in the thing that I've initiated into doing, a way of working. It's not about me. And so then there's a layer of trust and commitment and following something that's circumscribed because it works. It works. And so you do that, and then it's like, I don't want to be the guy that they're projecting all of the stuff onto that's really intense for them. You know, like you become a monster to them sometimes. But there's the familiarity now of like, okay, can be more skillful and tactful and like work through things in ways that is way more supportive for someone. And so there's just like more of a known sense of where someone's at and how to work through something. And so it's pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
Being next to people going through things can be quite dynamic, you know, but overall, very comfy there.
Well, but that's like consistency though, right? Like that's like being consistently devoted to the exploration of something without completely understanding why or where it's going to lead to eventually. And so you get on that path and you go with people and you come up against those, but you develop the nuances, the tact, the technique, the language, the energetic holding as well to be able to, you know, allow more subtlety, maybe.
Yeah.
Rather than
and not being attached.
Yeah. Which means like ultimately it's like this is the thing, right? Like you got to work on yourself until you fucking die. But that's that like gathering more data, gathering more information, you know, like experience, and that only comes from experience, I think. Which is again consistency. It's just the theme of
and being, you know, that like being able to humbly contradict yourself as well. I touched on this with Jag in the last one, might be why it's there, but this layer when you're going through these stages of your own process, you know, you can identify attachments because it's like, oh, I don't want to let go of this thing or whatever it is. So being able to be like, okay,
that's coming up.
I can take that hat off now. I don't need to be attached to that. Why does that even matter?
But then because you said before, like the tattooing position for you is really comfortable. And then life's happening around that. So do you find that it is, you know, like more messy out here in life happening around that?
There's far more room for my own process out here opposed to like in that space. It's not that like it doesn't come into that space ever, but I have to be really clear when that happens and be like, well, then maybe I shouldn't be tattooing at this point, or maybe ever again. And I've come up against that multiple times.
I was going to say, has that happened to you many times? Yeah.
Done.
I'm out.
Done. The last place I was out in that farm. It's like I'm there going like, well, it's very hard for people to get here. Like big time. So perfect time for no one to come and get tattooed. Perfect time.
Yeah.
Don't need to do it. Can help Dave with his sheep and do something else.
Become someone different.
Like take it. And then everyone rocking up at the farm.
You can't get away that easily.
There's someone down the road, mate. I'll do it for you. Nah. I'm going to come out. Okay. And they call back, can I bring my cat? No. You can't bring your cat. Like, don't come out here if you can't get someone to look after your cat, you need to be able to come out here for 3 days.
Yeah.
Not have your phone on and be with yourself and not tight. And come home. You don't have to come though. I don't want to tattoo you actually.
I'm quitting.
I'm actually okay with not tattooing you if you don't come out here. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to convince you to do it. I mean, like they're there and you're like, well, they're here, so let's be present and turn up and meet them with where they're at. And like I said, it's not always fun. Sometimes it's like, this is really smooth and groovy and we're enjoying it. And sometimes it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Oh, because they've turned up and I'm not attached to creating a story around it, sort of either way.
And their souls asked for a transition. Yeah.
Whatever it is. I've questioned whether it's like tattooing needs to be involved in that at all. You know, having like a sort of long-time teacher and mentor from day one say, you know, you could probably be working with people in the same way and tattooing not be involved at all. Caveat, they're not tattooed, that particular teacher. And where I currently sit in terms of seeing what's available, again, in our like global kind of young culture atmosphere, I would say something like the aspect or the dimension that tattooing offers is missing in most processes.
Put more words around that.
The layer of recording and physical expression, like embodied record of the process that you've gone through, that makes the transcendental experience, the work and the process and whatever it is that you're going through, the initiation, something, or the ephemeral process. So what's happening in that day, transcendental, that you then carry with you
forward
forever. Yeah. So there's lots of different avenues and pathways to have a process that's initiatory, but there's pieces missing a lot of the time. It's like initiation isn't one thing.
No.
This type of work isn't one thing. Again, that's why it's usually held within a context that's bigger than a person or an object or an individual process. It's very woven. And so that part, that tattooing or cutting or knocking a tooth out, or
marking
the process is, actually, like it's like something that's traumatic, but intentional trauma.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is trauma to the skin.
It's like the knowledge of, you know, this is a trendy thing, like biohacking, the body's system in terms of trauma and regeneration. So the trauma that takes place and the layer of like almost hypnotic brainwave state, capturing information and understanding where you were at that junction, that milestone, and then the body going through a process of actually repairing and healing and integrating something, and there being that physical visual symbol and marker of it linked into all of the other bits, like the story and the responsibility that comes out on the other side,
the coding of it.
Like and it's actually quite a tricky thing to work in with people at the moment, because there isn't a prescription or a protocol that's already in place. Probably is really deeply underneath, but you got to again do that excavation with people to get there, where it's like, so now that you've crossed that line, what is the layer that you take with it contractually? What's this like agreement that's there that means you're now in a place where you have this particular responsibility or way or
set of exposures.
yeah, that you didn't before.
Yeah. Which is the reality of self in a lot of, like in a lot of instances, it's like being struck with that. Fuck. I can't, like, I know, just like once you see, you can't unsee, so that's that. I think, and like going through a tattoo is usually that, passing through that threshold of self and self-limitation and self-expectation and self-understanding, and there's such a it's a process for you, it's a process to receive, as you would and I think that you come out with that a new level of reality of self, even if you're doing it unconsciously, like people go to Bali and get whole fucking things done. What's your opinion on the going under? We don't know.
My opinion on going under. So it's been happening for a little while now. More like vogue at the moment. But when I first started to see it, it was like sort of tracking how much it could displace someone in terms of their identity by not being, just like physically conscious with it.
Does that mean that there's like a fracturing?
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there is. And depends like how much they get done. Like people are getting a lot of work done really quickly. So like long time to catch up. There's a few bits to this. So it's like there's a term that I use kind of lightheartedly, kind of not, called PTID, post-tattoo identity disorder.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like when you get tattooed in a way that moves you away. You move away
separation
from who you are. Or like if you're moving closer to who you are, if you're actually trying to move towards that layer, it's like you're stuck in an identity that doesn't fit you anymore. Wearing something that doesn't fit anymore. That's there. And that's kind of that's the main bit that underpins where we're culturally at with tattooing, is that we get tattooed in a way that reinforces a version of ourselves.
Yeah.
Confirms something.
Yeah, or
opposed to letting go of something.
And puts us into the collective soup more now that tattooing's cool and it's, like trendy and all of those things.
Identity to yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, where it's actually, again, like the burning off. It's like it's meant to be a stripping away of who you think you are, to uncover who you actually are. And a lot of the time, there's a place of being gifted that as well, receiving it. So like it might be, this tattoo doesn't actually represent who I am right now, but I'm receiving it, and that's going to give me a marker in terms of what I'm moving towards.
Yeah. Information along the journey.
Yeah. So it's meant to aid you in that transformation. We use tattoos more commonly in the West in a way that doesn't aid our navigation in a straightforward manner.
Yeah.
It's more like this map we were talking about. So it's like you get a marker over here, and you get one over here, and you get one over here, and you get one over here. And like as you're coming into the center, you start to go like, why do I have these bits that I'm carrying along the way? Like they're there.
Little sandbags.
They're there for you to have a really clear access point to a version of you that you are not actually.
Yeah.
And so what do you do with those things? And that's a lot of the time, like maybe 70% of the time, where I end up next to someone now is like, actually all this thing that I've been doing, getting marked at the edges opposed to at the center. So what do you do with the things that are at the edge? And it's like, well, we need to compost them. We need to bury those things, actually. Like those parts of you that you can identify you no longer are.
Yeah.
You actually need to let them die. Stop carrying them.
Yeah. Put the bags down.
Yeah. We're gonna bury those things. We're gonna set them on fire, type of thing. So the process ends up being a lot of that. In like the shadow language that gets used in like psychology and spirituality, fits pretty well. Like shadow, you could think of it like a shadow seal. So something that's marking and holding and representing an aspect that's obscured to your actual your conscious awareness of who you are. Like, oh, I'm actually not that. I didn't see that. So it holds a piece of information in your story that was out of sight
at the time. Yeah.
And then so that next layer, usually where you're at the truth bit, is like initiation into shadow almost. It's like, oh, there it all is. Okay, now what am I going to do with that thing? Yeah.
Where am I going to put it? How am I going to interpret it?
Yeah, it's like just got to rip it out of the hands and let,
Where do you see it taking you?
Where do I see it taking me? As in
the journey that you're on,
life journey,
the pathway that you're pursuing, like the evolution of that.
Where do I see it taking me? Over my lifetime?
You can
back home.
To self? What does that mean, back home to?
Back home. Higher dimensional home. Yeah. Like I said, continuing to strip the self.
So what would that look like?
I won't be able to tell you what it looks like.
Not there yet.
Yeah. I just know it'll continue. It'll continue to strip me back.
Do you think always with the outlet as tattooing, or do you feel like that might update?
Yeah, it's flickered on and off. It's like it's not tattooing led as much for me now. And so it's tattooing ends up being the access point for a lot of people, because their process is led by the tattoo, whereas tattooing is like it's a byproduct of the process now. And I think there's maybe a bit of time, or I don't know, maybe some type of update that might take place that allows more engagement with me and people I'm working with that isn't based around tattooing. Tattooing's like just an aspect of working together, potentially at some point. So tattooing's there, still not attached to it. Like I said, it flickers, seems to be sticking now. So,
it seems to be consistent. What did you say, 18 years?
18 years now,
yeah. I mean, that's pretty fucking consistent.
Yeah.
If we're looking for consistency, that's nail head.
Yeah. So,
do you think that you would be drawn to more of like teaching as a methodology, and like bringing like that more of a, I don't want to like movement, I don't know if that's the right word, but
to
help more people adopt or move into that?
I've been doing that. I've been doing it sort of on and off. Could say like sort of testing the waters with it, and that's been a big process for me in terms of like burning my own layers off. Teacher hat's another one that needs to go. A lot of the time when you're in this process with people, right? But just like the artist hat, I still want to put the artist hat on and do a painting. And so the teacher hat is one where I've had to put it under the microscope, and I'm more comfortable coming back to it currently. But over the past 5 years, I've been in that process of consolidating, documenting deliverable processes, sequences, ways of doing things, taking on mentees, running courses, developing resources, so that's what Tattoo Pathway is, right? Tattoo Pathway is a way to guide a transformational process for someone, and tattooing being that vehicle. And we've built a lot out around it. We started off as like education and research together. And now we've separated those out. So we have like educational space, which is Tattoo Pathway, community-based, shared narrative framework for people. And TRI is kind of like this separate layer. So like a charity, non-for-profit.
Cool.
And that's fresh. It's only like a year and a half old.
Yep.
But that's to sort of go in and do a deeper pass on like what is being experienced within contemporary tattoo culture, have a better understanding of the lived experience for people.
Yeah.
We did one survey, which was pretty interesting, but looking to do more to inform what we're doing in the education space.
Yeah, Brad.
In a way where it's like, it's not just an individual on a trip making something up.
Yeah, it's actually a collective set of data that
We're
is
looking at what is, it drops it out of the sacred, a touch, the TRI layer, which is part of separating it out. So I'm trying to keep a very intact and connected thread in terms of the way I've learnt things and the way I lead people within the Tattoo Pathway. More of a body of knowledge that requires real transmission, looping into the stuff we talked about before, but not just that. So Taylor, who you met, she's looking into how to frame the material we have in a way that therapists and counselors or social workers can understand tattooing, in terms of story, trauma, identity,
impact,
relationship, and put educational material together so that they can engage with us as part of their CDP, their continued CPD, professional development. So like that's a lot broader. It's a lot broader.
That's really bringing an entirely contemporary understanding into, well, like it's like ancient and then also contemporary, into a body of work that is pretty tired, I would say, like therapy and counseling and psychology and stuff like that. Like there's not a lot of contemporary understanding of society as it is right now, which is, it was all developed a long time ago when tattooing was still frowned upon, or like it still was on the fringes sort of thing. And I think like we talk about trauma and all the things that we've talked about and how that impacts society, and but then the amount of people that are in therapy and the lack of understanding of that's fucking
it's like
fantastic.
Like you said, it's all converging. All the different spheres are kind of like following each other into this place. So we see it with like psychedelic therapy. Right. It's a similar thing happening. Tattooing's like way behind that. That has a very similar role if we think of its context in times gone by. Medicines and tattooing are both used as different instruments in these processes
along the path.
And so it's like you just brought up two bits that we didn't finish from earlier. So one of them was like we were tracking the timeline. It was like there's this rupture and goes from elevated to shaming. And then the power of the tattoo gets adopted by this side that's using it for a path that's not a path of betterment. It's like intimidation. And that's where the stigma came around tattooing for like the last maybe 250, 300 years. And now we're in a process where the stigma has been removed. It's like anyone can get tattooed. It doesn't mean jack shit. You can get a job with a tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, no one's going to frown on your parents are paying for their kids to get them. It's not bad anymore.
Well, I saw a thing today that said, it was funny, it was just a reel on Instagram, but it was basically like, the more tattoos you have, the more difficult it is for AI to regenerate you. So go out there and get more tattoos. So
yeah. So there's this like massive acceptance of it as a form of self-expression, right? But it's also very empty because of that, right? It's empty. It doesn't have that elevated place. Makes it common. Like anyone can get it at any time. It doesn't matter.
There's a level of vanity in it.
I can just do the same tattoo that I see on someone else, and like there's no whole barred.
Yeah.
Right? And so the analogy I use for that is like water coming out at a pure source, like base of a mountain or a spring or off a mountain, and then it's full mineral rich, right? And then you can get to a point where it's stripped of its minerals. Actually, it gets polluted, gets used in the opposite way.
Chlorinated and fluoridated and
pipes, whatever.
Yeah, all things.
And now it comes out and we like strip it of the bad things, but it also has no minerals. There's none
of the good things either.
Value in it. Doesn't hydrate. So you need to remineralize the water to get it back to where it started. Right. And so I think we're in a remineralization stage in terms of medicine,
society,
therapy, counseling, the family home,
humanity. I think like
we're in that stage of like, oh, cool, do whatever you want now, that's great. But how about we start looking at the aspects that did uplift, the things that created a credible pathway for our own children and ourselves to move through these stages with awareness, because we've done it. We've like put these things back in, we've mapped bits and pieces, and like maybe we need to put a guardrail there. Well, maybe someone can be a ranger that goes around and talks to people and gives them the map.
Maybe we could show some people where the edges are, but like that's kind of like
pick your own journey, but within this maybe.
And I feel like I just lost what I was going to say. It feels like a unconscious initiation, like that, like, oops, I just fell over the edge of that fucking cliff, like maybe there should be a guardrail there, is like the unconscious version of figuring out, like where those things are, because we don't have, I found my thought process again, it's fine, we're back. Because we don't have, or we've lost the art of ritual and initiation in terms of, like for young kids, for boys, for, like women have an inherent initiation, which is motherhood and birth and things like that. But I think, like even that is becoming less and less because of the way that society's impacted us and the things that we've learned and the life that we're in. But, there isn't that formalized initiatory process throughout time that shows boys how to be men so that my situation doesn't happen, or that teaches them about respect and humility and understanding of the world and how to navigate that, or how to hold themselves within that.
100%.
And so we're going through this unconscious fucking, like, that's for me, like with the things that I experienced, I don't think that anyone can say, like everything happens for a reason, but the bad things aren't included in that. To me, it's like,
it's hard to grab, but I'm with you.
Trauma, I think trauma happens for a reason. It's an initiation throughout your life, and I think there are lots of things that develop us aren't inherently good, and they don't feel good, but hindsight's a incredible gift. And I think being able to see those points of initiation and the ages that you are at those times, like, so 10 for me, like that's an age of initiation for a lot of young people, but we don't have the process of that. And so I think that there's some people that, create that in their lives in some way so that they unconsciously get initiated. But usually that unconscious initiation is disastrous in some way
Yeah.
because you're not aware.
Yeah, it's not a controlled burn. Again,
No.
knowledge that's lost, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah. The terrain that, like, you know, falling off the edge
Yeah.
picture that we're painting, I think is perfect for it. Because it's when you start to see what's happening on that layer, like, okay, we'll just try and work this thing out.
Mm.
And it's very overgrown. We're like going through this place that's overgrown, can't see everything.
Mm.
Right? It's like you can't lose initiation because it's almost like there's a paved way. There's a way to navigate it. You know, or like it's been navigated before. We just need to find our way back through it. The thing's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly that you can fall off the edge, right? That's that's gnarly. That shows us that we have the way's not clear. You have people leading you through the thing, but you can't lose the thing. You can't lose it. The journey's happening. This is like the consistency piece. Time's happening.
Yeah. We're alive. We're breathing.
You're going to be here and you're going to be there. You're born, you're dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a passage.
Yeah.
You can't lose the passage. We're not navigating it very effectively. We've lost the credible people that were doing that, you know, or they're taking on very different forms. A lot of time, people that are in that place don't even recognize they're there. We're in a very mixed, again, globalized, porous world.
You're there.
You're there.
Mm.
We're like navigating it. But we're trying to find our own way.
Yeah.
Stumbling around, getting burnt, you know, falling off things, injuring ourselves.
Figuring out where the barriers go.
Yeah. So the way I navigate that, going like, okay, no one's showing me 100%. It's like, oh, there are people navigating things in particular ways that, like, how do they even make that barrier? Oh, they construct it in this way out of that material. That's amazing. Can I build that barrier? And they're like, don't need to build this barrier. Just build your own barrier.
Put it over there. There's another edge.
But can I use that material? It's like, that material is not mine. That material just grows here. Why don't you use some of that material? It's probably over there where you are too. And like, okay, guess we will then. Where do I put up a barrier? Oh, where someone's going to die. Oh, okay. So identify where it's not like, oh, I burnt myself and I'm aware of it. It's like, where are people actually not coming back from?
Yeah. Where
are the corners of the map where they fall off
and they don't come back?
And that's it. There isn't a return. No return. Not back to center mapping it again the other way. It's like, that's too far off an edge. The tether snaps now.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
That, you know. So trying to map that in people's processes, you know, part of it, depending on what space you're in.
Yeah, well, I think that
There's no coming back point.
And that I think you can look at that with men's suicide statistics. You know, there's a lot of not coming back.
Yeah, that's the big one.
It's probably the single most worst one. And that's not good language, but
you can use it though.
It's if you could look at things on a, you know, like on a large scale.
Those stats, and like Jags shared them with me before.
Not off my heart.
It's pretty brutal stuff, hey?
Yeah, it's massive. I don't know them off by heart, but it is, you know, I think that's what you kind of look at and you go like, well, there is an edge there. There's an edge of understanding and of comprehension and of ability to navigate. I think because that place, I've only ever been on the verge of that once in my life, and I was just like, oh, this is what that despair feels like. That's wild. And then I think it's like there's a level of consciousness that's not been explored or not been opened. It's very obviously it's far more complex than that, but that, you know, like that edge that creates that tether to snap is an inability to understand. self experience, why, magnetism, like life expectancy as well. Also, I think like a soul's journey. There's a whole bunch of, you spoke about the spirit and the soul and the consciousness, and then the meat suit.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of components to thread together in there as well to be able to, lock into place so that they kind of like fit and make sense.
Yeah. Then suicide at that edge makes me think about like following the story off the edge. Like believing the story so much that you go off the edge, opposed to having that
committing.
Having a point where someone's there going like, just throw the story in the fire. Like, let the story die.
Yeah.
Let the story die.
I see that with a lot of guys going through divorce. And I am well aware that the system is not in favor of men, but watching men go through divorce, and it's like that fight for what was mine and what's being taken away, and the commitment to like, and again, very complex, and I'm delivering this in a very simplistic way, but it's like, what happens when you let go of the story and you stop fighting and you go, okay, whatever's not meant to be with me will be stripped away. Just fucking take it. Like, it's just I get that there's children involved often, but when it's money and things like that, it's like you can make more money. Like, it's you can't get your time back. You can't get all of the time that you're going to commit to this story and this elaborate set of dramatic circumstances that are going to drain and siphon the life out of you, because that's what a fucking justice system is designed to do. Like drain the life out of you, drain the energy out of you, drain the spirit out of you, and drain the fucking money out of you. And there's that commitment to that fight because it's mine and I earned it, and it's all of those, there's so much woven around that. I have a client who went through it last year, and it was just like, he was like, yeah, but, and I just said to him, like, you own a business. You can make more money. Like, you cannot get back your mental health. Well, you can, sorry, but like, like, is it worth it?
Where it's taking you.
Is this fight going to be worth what it's going to actually cost you? And he just went, you know what? Fuck it. And he signed the papers, and I've talked to him now, and it's just.
How far do you need to go before that rebound? And that's the thing.
Just the thing.
Sorry if I use the bathroom.
Whoa, I was just going to say, my battery's nearly run out on my computer. We've been talking for 2 hours and 20 minutes. We might. I was like, oh, where is the? No, we keep going. So maybe we'll wrap up, and then potentially we can do this again.
Yeah, it was really cruisy. Hey.
Yeah.
We could probably keep going, but
we could definitely keep talking.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Hope it was valuable.
Thank you for tuning in. I know that some people are still watching, and for asking questions. If you've got any questions or comments, you can pop them on the clip as you're watching. We would love to hear your feedback. I'll pass any of those comments on. I think we're going to share it with you to post as well, so you'll be able to see those things and get updates. Please like and subscribe. That would really help us to grow. And then in the comments of this, in the description, we've got all of your links. So
the Tattoo Pathway, which is that educational space, and my personal Instagram website if you want to get any work done and work with me. And you can find the studio in Brisbane through there too.
Great. Anything else you would like people to know?
No, that's it. But thank you.
Highly recommend.
Thank you so much, appreciate the chat.
Thank you. I appreciate the honest conversation. It's been awesome. We'll be back again next Thursday night live with another very interesting conversation. Thank you for joining me tonight. and I'll see you all next week.